Sneaking suspicion. Well, hello, folks. Once again, from your communications committee, this is Stefan, and we are finally going to address the very enigmatic, the very archaic Rainmaker Crewpay software. In the studio with me today, I have Nathan, and he is one of our stewards. And one thing I wanted to ask Nathan, since, all the different committee members have like these titles. I'm the communications chairman. I'm a grievance committee rep, and everybody's got a title. Now, steward. Can you tell me more about what a steward does for us?
Well, what we do is basically oversee all of the committees. Some unions split up the committees amongst their stewards. We have a chief steward, Will Sargent, but Mike Valdez and I and Will all decided to just share all of the committees instead of dividing them up. It just made it easier for us to deal with issues that arose versus just having one steward responsible for 2, 3, or 4 committees.
So I guess in essence, the stewards then are the executive branch of the whole union leadership. So yesterday we were going to try to get together and do this yesterday, but it didn't turn out because you were in the middle of system boards. What's it like a system board?
When a pilot files a grievance, if the company denies the grievance, it will eventually get to a system board where the union and the company get together face to face and try to hammer out an agreement. If an agreement can't be hammered out, then eventually it will go to arbitration. Yeah, it's got
being on the grievance committee as a rep. I got to go through you writing a letter to the chief pilot, and then a meeting between yourself, a steward, and the chief pilot, and then if still there's kind of differences that can't be resolved, then it goes to the system board.
Right.
That's Railway Labor Act Section 3, and then in our current CBA, which it's going to change here in a little while,
hopefully,
was that 24F? I think 24F. But I guess on to some more substance and business at hand here. Rainmaker, Crewpay, all of the enigmatic little symbols they use. We're going to cover those today. We're not going to step into the passwords for Rainmaker and how to set your password. Now, if you do have problems with your password, what you'll do is you'll send an email to this email right here. And what they're going to do is they're going to be able to either help you set your email your password for the first time, or if you have troubles, you got logged out and you can't hack back in, they'll reset your password for you. So send an email off to them if you have any password questions about Rainmaker. Well, with no further ado, what do you think, Nathan? Should we hop into this?
As painful as this is going to be, yes.
I'm scared. All right, well, we're going to use my account here, and what we're going to do is because there's some good examples in my account as there is, so we're just going to step into my current period, December, because there are some good items on that. All right, so no better place to start but in the top left-hand corner of the page. All right, we're in the segment as we clicked on before, which is current. This one just happens to be the December pay period. You can change this by selecting different drop-downs and going back as far as since the beginning of your employment. Outside of that, yep, it's me, Stefan Cleveland, and then my position is captain, and the status is that this current Rainmaker is open this month. Hours of credit here is 30.58 unmodified pay credit hours, PCH. The world is, at least this world, is filled with acronyms, and not only is our CBA to blame, but also airline pilot and pilot culture. But yeah, PCH equals pay credit hours. The date it was modified, somebody must have modified this on the 7th, not me, of course, but this was modified on the 7th. Today is what, the 12th?
Today is
I'm losing track of time. I'm on vacation right now, and that's what made this this video possible.
Yes, you heard that right.
Yeah.
He did say the V word.
Hey, shh. All right, so this period is also expressed as 2012 of 12 of 2021. The line type is, of course, a line holder. The minimum guarantee is 75 hours. Revision. Now we're going to look at something a little more detailed than this revision current. If you click on this, even if you do have a modification to your Rainmaker month, this will always just say current. I'm going to let Nathan go into this a little bit more under this More tab here in the next video. Aside from that, my domicile is Newark, and am I payable? Well, fortunately, yes. My employment date, I go way back to... Let's go a little bit farther down here and take a look at the grid. So here's the obviously the day of the pay period, the details of what is going on currently on vacation. VAC is clearly vacation. The equipment is the CRJ 550. Of course, that's not put down here because there's no pay difference. I'm sure if there were a pay difference on our different differences, that would be denoted there. Regular pay here, as you can see, because I'm on vacation, I'm not flying a whole lot. We'll scroll down here. That regular pay that you see in the different trips, that all equals a total of 46.32. Deadhead, apparently I've got one deadhead in there somewhere. I haven't looked quite yet, but the deadhead pay credit hours is there. Now here's the minimum line, which is where they're going to add in, our min guarantee is per day is 4 hours. So we'll take a look how that's broken up a little bit farther down here. Vacation pay is credited as PCH of 3.25 hours. That translates into 3 hours and 15 minutes. Holiday pay, HOLAB, that's here under this column. And then there's non-taxable per diem. And you'll see that there are two lines when it does occur. There's a non-taxable per diem and a taxable per diem. And I was just talking to Nathan about my research on taxable versus non-taxable. Let's say, for example, if you've got a trip that is out of Newark, however, that trip does include a Newark overnight, you are still accruing per diem from the moment that you show up for that trip, your duty in time, till your duty out time. That entire time you are getting your per diem pay. However, if you do have an overage of your maximum allowable per diem per federal tax code and how it interacts with the state that you're domiciled in, you will reach a per diem max limit. And then going back to what I was talking about before, if you do have an overnight in Newark, that you're still getting your per diem. However, it becomes taxable. So you'll see a column for non-taxable and then also a taxable per diem if you do go into taxable.
One thing to mention that you didn't see off Stefan's duty plan, and I'll show that to you on mine a little later, is if you've got a one-day trip that begins and ends in base, all of that per diem is taxable.
That. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, he'll get into that more in, I think, video number 2, where we're going to do this kind of simple, complicated, and bonkers complicated is that? Should we call it that? All right. So continuing on here, you'll see that there's the accrual of my vacation time here, and I guess I was senior enough, 4.5 years that I was able to hold my vacation, and that will, if you had your vacation revoked, it's, give it some time. I've spent 7.5 out of 9.5 years in 121 on reserve. That's how much I love this vacation. So, and it was hard. It was hard to get here, and I'm willing to sacrifice it all to move along to, a mainliner or something like that. That's just the way this aviation 121 world works. All right, let's take a look here. Line 14, this is the trip that I will be flying here. Now here's a good basic line here. This first line on 14, as we were mentioning earlier, we have a min guarantee of 4 PCH per day. So here's the actual, I guess, block time that I'll be flying, and it's 2.12 hours. So what they'll do here...
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yes, 2 hours. Yeah, thank you. Better explained that way. What they'll do here is they'll increase that in the min column. They'll add that 1 hour and 48 minutes to make this a total PCH of 4 hours. Then going down here, I'm definitely flying over 4 hours there. No adjustment needed. Definitely flying over 4 hours here as well. 6 hours and 20 minutes. And then 5 hours and 10 minutes. No further adjustments were needed. All right, moving down to my second and last trip of December. Oh man, they got me on Christmas. See? You can't have everything at all times. It's so I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day Christmas trip. So yeah, here again they've just done this adjustment. Actually, here, let me take a look up here at this top. So there's a deadhead that I'm doing here. So I've got my deadhead of 1 hour and 24 minutes on top of a 2 hour and 18-minute day, and
holiday pay.
Holiday pay right there. And so what that does is that, again, takes me over the 4 PCH. Every day is over 4 PCH, this one just by 11 minutes. Now what we're going to do is, I'll take a look a little bit farther down here. Oh, you know what, one thing I skipped over. If you want to take a look at the crew member profile, a lot of people are like, where's my vacation pay? Where's my sick pay? All right, if we click on the little plus symbol and explode that portion here, you'll see that we have a bunch of different data. The start date, again, is my day that I started working here. Longevity is, I went and came in as direct entry captain. So I had spent 3.5 years at ASA before they were cool enough to give me the longevity pay and benefits. So that's why that says 2013. Here are different training events that occurred recently. So on 4/29/20, there was I actually dequalled through no intention of the company or through myself. There was a miscommunication with an instructor or the line check airman. And sadly, but it was during COVID anyway, I dequalled because of a administrative error. Yes, so that requal, once I requalled, that was put here, and then any additional. Let me see here. This is the passage of my initial right here, or the beginning of my initial, and then passage of it here on 8/27/17. Here's my different domiciles throughout the time that I've been here. I've been in Newark for quite some time. During COVID for a little while, I was in Chicago. Remember the Detroit days? Yeah. Secretly, Nathan and I actually hate each other because we were involved in competitive jump seating for a long time out of Detroit to both get home to the South Florida area. Here's the type of line that I have, whether it's a line holder. I go back to reserve here, and here, yeah. Starting as a direct entry captain, just multiple months of reserve here. So beyond that, let's take a look down. Banks and balances. Here's the one that's rather asked about a lot. It's your sick pay. What do I have in my sick bank?
Too much.
Yeah, too much. Yes, 130 hours of sick bank. And then here's the vacation pay as well. And beyond that, these are the accruals and how they go on by date. And every month you accrue 2 hours of sick bank, right?
I believe so.
Yep. All right. And then every year, how does the vacation accrual work?
Well, that depends on your year. It's in the CBA. It depends on your years of longevity is when you jump up. The first year you get nothing. The second year you get.
I'm used to that, getting nothing.
1 week, yeah. And after that you get 2 weeks for a couple of years, and then eventually you might actually get a third week.
All right, so that was a jump back at something I ran over and forgot before. So let's take a look down here at the bottom. All right, so here is your total pay credit hours as tabulated before. For me, it's before I even start flying. This will change based upon if you get it's block or better. A lot of people wonder what does block or better mean? Well, there's a historic block that has been routinely shown on that particular flight. Let's say it's Newark to Columbus, over and over and over historically, and an airline will block that at a particular time, and we get paid that historic block whether we fly that full amount or not. So if it's historically blocked for 2 hours and you fly 1.5 hours or an hour and 30 minutes and you complete it, you still get paid for 2 hours. Now, if it goes over that, if you got some sort of a ground stop in Newark, leaving to go to Columbus, and you pay credit, you blocked 2 hours and 10 minutes, you now get an additional PCH of 10 minutes of PCH on that. So that's how block or better works.
Now, one thing to remember is we're not pay protected by flight. We're not even pay protected by day. We're pay protected by trip. So you can have 1 day on a 4-day trip where you're de-icing and you're stuck in the conga line at Newark, and then you're waiting for a gate for an hour and a half at Newark on the way back, and you just overblocked like an animal. But on day 2 and 3, you flew right around block, and that's wonderful. On day 4, you weren't even close. You have to add up all the days of that trip. On your duty plan, it'll say what it's worth. And if the actual exceeds the duty plan, that's when you'll start making extra.
Yeah, there's a kind of a big misunderstanding that if you fly 1 day or 2 days, that might have blocked more time on a daily basis, but you stayed inside of your trip PCH for the rest of it, you will still only be guaranteed your trip PCH. That's the king. Trip PCH is what your guarantee is based off of. All right, so I think we've kind of covered like the basics of Rainmaker from the top to up into this portion here, this report totals. So what do you think? Should we kick off our more complicated video with the kind of the overalls on this thing here?
Yeah, I
What do you
think we've
there?
tortured them enough on this one. We should start another one.
All right, let's click into the next video and more torture.